There was a smouldering hole where the window had been blasted by a lightning bolt, and bubbling clouds were even forming in the lab itself. There was rain and snow and every kind of weather imaginable, all crashing round in our garage. Before I could shut the door, a tornado of fizzing, swirling energy escaped the lab and tore round the kitchen. I felt my feet lifting off the floor and saw Max's nappy-less bum floating past my face as he giggled. "This is not funny," I said. "It's like the storm has come inside our house. We need to take cover." I had to do something, even if we had a way to change the weather. Ding! Of course. Mum's invention, the weather ray, or the weather ray 3000, as I was still calling it in my head. Perhaps I could power it up and zap this freaky storm into a nice calm evening and save Freaky from all this freakiness. Great idea. I was just about to make a run for the weather ray when I remembered the limiter, the device that would stop the machine from overheating and creating a crazy out-of-control storm that could wipe out an entire time, maybe even the world or even the universe. It hadn't been installed yet. Bad idea. So instead of being a hero and saving the world, I decided to do the next best thing. Hide. I remembered that storm-chasing documentary me and you watched when all those brave Americans with cool haircuts and awesome trucks drove into the path of twisters. Then I remembered what one of them said. The safest place in a storm is underground. Underground. Dad's man cave. In our basement. It was every kid for himself, and I was about to run for the basement door when more headlines flashed in my mind. Awesome kid saves baby from stinky storm. Super brother rescues poopy brother. Frankie Brown named the world's greatest person. I had to at least try to get Max out of there. I mean, how often do you get 2 chances to become a famous hero in one day? Plus, it meant I could say, "It's danger time" again, and I was already really starting to get used to that. You should have seen me, Danny. I went into slow-mo mode again, just like Zach Danger himself, only better. Seriously. I think I even did a double backflip over the kitchen table and a wicked knee slide under the ironing board. I scooped up my giggling, nappy-less brother and a slice of pizza and made a dash for the man cave. "Dad!" I yelled on the way, but Dad was hunched over crying, so I guess that Wigglesbottom United had lost and he preferred the storm to blow him away with it, so I left him there. He was no use to us now. After stumbling into the basement, I closed the door, leaving the freaky storm behind. Everything felt quiet and still. We were safe. Max and I made ourselves comfy on Dad's dog-chewed armchair. R.I.P. Billy. Max fell asleep, and I found a box of Dad's Star Wars toys from when he was a kid. The ones that are still in their boxes and aren't to be played with. Well, I figured it'd be our last night alive. Even if we did survive the freaky storm, then Dad probably wouldn't, so I didn't have anything to lose by playing with his toys. All the excitement of the pizza, the explosions, the funky lightning, and the Star Wars figure must have exhausted me more than I realised. I suppose I fell asleep, as the next thing I knew, I woke up on my own bed. That was this morning. I ran to the window and looked out at a perfectly ordinary sunrise over Freaky. Nothing had been destroyed by the green storm. In fact, it didn't even look like it had been raining. There was no damage to the cars, no damage to the rooftops of the houses I'd seen zapped with lightning just a few hours before. The swing outside Jamilia's house swung gently in the breeze, and Susie's parents at number 8 were both outside gardening and humming to themselves. Weird. I found Mum, Dad and Max in the kitchen. Mum was programming her breakfast order into the Pancake-O-Matic. "Morning, sweetheart. Did you have fun last night? That was a good idea of Dad's to let you sleep in the man cave away from that storm. Aren't you lucky that Dad let you play with his Star Wars toys?" Mum said, and Dad smiled at me nervously. "Yeah," I replied, relieved that Dad didn't seem mad at me and that he'd survived the storm. The storm was bonkers. Mum sighed. "Yes, it's a shame my weather ray hasn't got its limiter installed yet, or we could have zapped that straight into a nice clear sky in a jiffy." "See, I knew that would have been a good idea." "And now you'll have to rebuild your lab too," I said. "Rebuild?" Mum frowned. "Yeah, the lightning blasted a hole in the wall and there was a tornado and..." Mum dropped her pancake and darted to the lab door. She ripped it open and my jaw dropped. It totally back to normal. Spotless. Had I not seen the storm tear through the house with my own eyes, I would never have believed it. Dad chuckled. You must have dreamt it. As if, that's impossible, I gasped, staring at the pristine lab. Nothing's impossible in there, said Mum with a smile. But I saw it was a total wreck. Must have been all that extra cheese on your pizza before bed, Mum said, shooting Dad one of those looks before heading into her lab to start inventing stuff. She's still in there now, and Dad's doing the washing up. He keeps looking over his shoulder and mouthing something at me, like he's trying to tell me something without Mum hearing, but I can't quite work it out. I told him I had a letter to write to you and didn't have time to play his silly games and took my toast to my bedroom, and that's where I am right now, writing this. I guess Dad must have cleaned up the mess while I was asleep. Sometimes it's best not to ask questions. Ignorance is bliss. That's what Dad says anyway. It was one freaky night in Freaky though. Right back soon, Frankie.